We are back in our home area from our trip and out taking a little ride today. But someone asked me the other day if we were going to do a follow-up video on our trip out west. And I said, yeah, it's coming. So in this video, you're going to hear about what happened to us while we were out west, some of our adventures. You're going to hear about the costs, and you're also going to hear about the future. So it might be a little longer than a normal video, but please put up with it, and let's get started. Well, I'm sitting in my car. It's August 31st. We've been back home about 12 days, I guess, and had people ask me, are you going to do a follow-up? Are you going to do a a wind-up or whatever? I'm like, yeah, sure I am. So this is sort of part of the wind-up. We did a service this past Sunday down in Lexington at Zion Baptist Church, where Nancy and I got up and spoke about 20 minutes on our adventure and what all God did this summer. So we're going to do that in this video. We're also going to talk about the amounts, the mileage, the costs, and all of that. We're going to talk about what we learned on this trip and what is in store for the future. First of all, just a review. We left home May 30th. We didn't get back home until, I've got my calendar here, August 19th. We ministered in 18 different services while we were out west. One essentially, well, sometimes two a week. Most of them on Sunday. I had a couple of Saturday services. I had one Wednesday service, two Wednesday services, as a matter of fact. And we drove over 12,000 miles during that time. But we encountered so many people. We made so many friends at the different churches we ministered at. We saw so many lives touched, so many people hungry for a true movement of God, hungry for revival. Had one pastor say, Brother Paul, can you please come and preach on the Holy Spirit? So, it's one of those things where that we saw people hungry and wanting more. And the services we had were absolutely incredible. God moved in such a mighty way. We ministered in two churches that were looking for pastors. One did get a pastor, I found out just recently. The other one, they lost their pastor. He died May 1st. And so when we arrived there was still a lot of mourning going on at that church. We did two services in that particular church. We had an open Sunday in August. Couldn't figure out why I couldn't get it filled, but then a pastor called me the day before and said, Brother Paul, I'm very, very sick. Can you come and fill in for me? So that was the reason that day was open. We took so many videos of so many different places. I'm so busy trying to get videos produced now. I'm trying to get them out every 2 weeks. There will be times when it will probably be more than every 2 weeks, just to try to get all the videos in. Some of them are going to be shorter, some of them are going to be longer, just because of the quantity of video that I have of the places where we went. And just a reminder, make sure you read down below all this, the descriptions that I put into the videos. I put a lot of work in on that, a lot of history, a lot of information. There's also information on it about our ministry and about how to help support us, because we did have people support us. We had people that gave us money before we left. We had people that sent us money while we were on the road. People who prayed for us. Is just incredible what all God did. And every place we ministered at, they begged us, please come back. Please come back. Whenever you are in the area, please come back. So we're looking forward to going back. Yes, we are going back again next year. That'll be our 18th year going back. We're not sure yet. We're praying about it. Ask you to pray about it. We're hoping maybe to do the churches in Arizona sometime late February or March. and then hit the other churches in Wyoming, Colorado, and such in June and July. So be in prayer with us about that. We'll see how God moves. We're also believing God and trusting that He's going to provide us with a camper. We desperately need one of those. I estimated we could have saved $2,000 on this trip if we would have had a camper. So just something to pray about, something to think about for us. We were thankful that we didn't have to really stay in hotels too much, basically going to and from some of our destinations. There were 2 churches that put us up in their church apartments. We had one church put us up in somebody's home. A couple of churches provided us with lodging. So we spent 66 of our nights free while we were out there. Our main cost was the travel to, from, and the travel around while we were there. We slept in 15 different beds, which means that when we got back home, the first place we visited was our chiropractor. Oh my, yeah, it takes its toll on you. But if you're watching this, if you want to, now would be a good time to either take a nap or skip forward, because now I'm going to talk a little bit about money. And I know we don't like talking about that, but we're going to. If you remember, I put out a video before we left called Sermon on the Amount. And it basically talked about what our projections were, what our budgets were for the trip. That was based on a 2-month trip. We were gone a little over 2.5 months. So the budget was a little skewed in that. But for example, we like I said, we were 82 days on the road. We drove 12,771 miles. That's an average of 155.7 miles per day. The biggest difference this year over last year was our fuel costs. Our fuel cost was only $1,280.01, or an average of $26.59 a day. Now you might think, well, that's still a lot of money. Yes, but realize this. Last year cost us $383.13 more, and we were only gone a little over a month and a half. Fuel was outrageous last year. Last year, it cost us just over 13 cents a mile for our trip. This year, it was just under 10 cents a mile. Our car averaged 35.6 miles to the gallon. That's city, highway, mountains, all of that. So it really, really was great. So with all of that being said, I want to say this too. God really provided for us. I do a lot of when we travel, we go to Pilot gas stations, and because they're well lit, they're safe. So I have an app on my phone called a Pilot app. Well, according to Pilot, this summer everybody's supposed to get 10 cents off a gallon, which I did. But in June, I got 30 cents off a gallon of gas, and they also put in an extra discount on there. So there were times I was getting 35, 40 cents or more off a gallon of gas. That was in June. Once July came around, it all went back to 10 cents a gallon. Just to put this in perspective with gas and everything, 12,771 miles. If we averaged 50 miles per hour on our travels while we were in the car, we would have driven 255.4 hours. That's how long we were in the car itself. If we averaged 50 miles an hour. So we were in the car a long time on this trip. Our lodging, like I said, was a lot less than what we anticipated. We had to pay for 15 nights. We had someone give us pay for half of our lodging while we were in the Surprise, Arizona area. So our lodging was $1,380.44. That also includes some discounts that we had in there. So that meant that we averaged about $112 a night. That's a lot of money, but that's what lodging costs anymore. It's crazy. Meals. And a lot of our meals, since we were able to stay in the apartments, we were able to buy groceries, so we didn't eat out as much. And we also had a lot of people, hey, come on, I'm gonna buy you dinner or whatever. And so yes, we had a lot of that. So our meals was $1,741.85, about $21 a day for meals. There were a few miscellaneous expenses that we had to get while we were on the road. I had to get a new hard drive, an external hard drive for my laptop, as the memory was filling up with all the video. I had to get a new parks pass for all the national parks, but it'll be the last time I pay for it, because now I'm a senior. I get the senior pass, so one time and you're done. We spent about $60 on laundry, about $195 on tolls. The car, we had to have the oil changed, the tire rotated, some washes because it gets very dirty. That was about $176, almost $200 on clothing, medicine about $107, postage $34. So it all adds up. So just wanted to give you an idea of like a lot of our expenses and everything that we had going, and any help that you want to throw our way for future trips, it all goes to those future trips. And I'll even make you a deal. If you'll sponsor us, or if you'll send us some money on a video that we take with that money, I'll make sure your name is on it. So anyhow, just wanted to throw all that out, and just say this is the expenses that we had. This is what we incurred. You know, we don't do this to make money. We do this. I'm nonprofit. You know, we're not getting rich off of this or anything. The only riches that we have, we're laying up in heaven. So anyhow, I just wanted to throw all this out just to give you an idea. So if you want to wake up or click back in here, now would be a good point, because I want to talk about what we learned and future travels. So right now I am at a little place near where I live called the Garden of Hope, and what they have here is a replica of the Garden Tomb in Jerusalem, believed by many to be the sepulcher of Christ. Tradition says that is typical of the tombs in the days of our Lord. So this is supposed to be like a replica of that tomb where they laid Jesus. But of course, the tomb is empty. So I thought this would be a good place just to talk a little bit about future, about what we learned, because here we are standing in front of a replica of the tomb over in outside Jerusalem where Jesus was buried. Of course, the tomb is empty, just like the one over there. But what did we learn? We learned one thing, that yes, you can have packages mailed from home. They don't always get to where you want them to go to. Because of our insurance, we had to have our prescriptions filled in our home state and then mailed out to wherever we were. Well, it worked fine, except for one instance where the package, I don't know what happened, but it ended up showing up a month after we left from where we were. The pastor called and ended up sending it on home. We did find out that while having insurance is wonderful, you can get by without insurance. We learned about using the Good RX app on our phone. We also learned that Walgreens, which the one in Fruita was so helpful, has a program that helps get discounts on prescription medicines. So we started using that, and oh, it was wonderful. What else did we learn on the trip? We learned that you have to pace yourself. We were very busy, and I think we both got a little tired. We both got just a little worn down, especially toward the end, so we got to pace ourselves. We learned that about altitude sickness. I know Nancy especially learned about that because she had it while we were up on Pikes Peak, and then she got a little heat exhaustion, I guess you would say, while we were in Laughlin, Nevada, where it hit 120 degrees. So she got all that. So she ended up suffering from that. So we learned about, making sure that you're hydrated, making sure, that everything is, that you're ready for the high altitudes or for the heat. We learned there are certain places in Arizona you do not want to go to in July. And Parker, Arizona, Laughlin, Nevada, that's some of those places. That's why we're praying to do those places, including Baus, Arizona, in like late winter, early spring, sometime in that range. We did learn how to order things on the road that we need and have them shipped to wherever we are. We learned about general delivery, which there are some post offices that still have that. But if you know somebody in the area where you're going, have it sent to them. That's the safest way to do it. So we learned about budgeting, making our money last longer when we're on the road, because we're not doing this being rich people, you know. But we learned how to budget some things, how to cut costs here, cut corners there. And that helped a great deal, because when you're on the road 82 days, to us, this was just a prelude of what's to come, because we expect to be doing this frequently. So we've got to learn how to budget, how to travel, how to do things better than what we've done in the past, so that we can stay longer out on the road, period. Period. Why did I say that? I don't know. I think I've tried to send a text to somebody. We learned that our cat Tony missed us horribly. That first night home, he would not leave me alone. He wanted to be constantly beside me. It seemed like he was trying to get under my skin. He was pushing so hard against us. I'm thankful for our daughter and her friend taking care of our home, taking care of Tony, you know, just making sure everything was good back home. I'm thankful for that. Another thing that happened to us while we were out on the road is that I found out Nancy can do a great job witnessing to people. She always says, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to say. But here she is witnessing to people and talking to people in laundromats or at a pool, different places. She would go and talk to them. She had a lady come up to her and say, I need prayer. I lost my husband 2 weeks ago. You know, it's amazing when we open our mouths what God can do with that. And Nancy, oh, she did awesome with that this summer. We also learned while we were on our roads that yes, you will encounter bad weather. In our videos about the hailstorm that we were in and the tornado warning that we were in, that was pretty intense. But you know what? God took care of us. When we were up on Pikes Peak, 37 degrees, heavy snow that was all around up there, about 8-foot snow drifts in places. It was cold, but God took care of us. And then when we were in Laughlin, Nevada, when we got up that morning in Bryce Canyon, it was 39 degrees. By the time we got to Laughlin, it was 118, and the next day it hit 120. God took care of us during that time. So when you're out on the road, you have to be prepared for different weather conditions. And you got to be ready for that. I know I started keeping more tools in my car this year. You know, you just have to be prepared, because you never know what you're going to encounter. We encountered some pretty bad rains through Texas. You know, we encountered a lot of heat. We encountered some pretty bad storms. We encountered wildlife, yes, bighorn sheep along the side of the road, butting heads. You know, so expect the unexpected when you're out on the road, but just trust God that He's going to take care of you, and have stuff ready in case something happens. You know, the old Boy Scout motto, you know, always be prepared. It pays to be prepared. So when you travel and you're going to be on the road long periods of time, always be prepared. Oh, I forgot. I'm looking right at an expense that we had while we were on the road. Yes, my GoPro camera. Because remember, I lost the one last year while we were kayaking out on the Colorado River. So I had to go and purchase a new GoPro camera while we were on the road. That was another miscellaneous but big expense that we had to incur. Don't be afraid also to take risks. We, on our trip, being gone as long as we were gone, it was a risk. We didn't know if we would have enough money to get through. We didn't know, you know, what was going to happen. But you know what? We stepped out in faith, and God took care of us every step of the way, and He opened doors so that we can come back next year and do it again. I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait. You know, I mean, yes, it's good to be home. Yeah, after we got home, we had to go see all of our doctors and get all of our prescriptions and do all that kind of stuff. But man, I want to be on the road again. I want to be out ministering. I want to be out traveling. I want to be out telling people about Jesus so bad. I daily look at the maps. I daily look at videos of where we were and say, I want to be there. I remember when I got home, I had to put in a new kitchen faucet because ours had been leaking. Our daughter says as much as a gallon a day leaking. So I went in and replaced it, and I was doing something, and I looked at Nancy and I said, my mind is not on this. My mind is I'm at a gas station somewhere in New Mexico. And she was like, I know. She's like, I'm here, but mentally, I'm not. You know, so don't be afraid to take risks. You know, you step out in faith, God's going to meet you. So let's talk a little bit about the future. In the future, as soon as we get a camper, I'm not saying when, but I'm just saying as soon as we do, because it is going to happen. This is something where we are going to be making 2 trips essentially west. One in the winter, late winter, one in the summer like we always do. Why? Because when you're in Arizona, when you're in that area, and God seems to be expanding our boundaries that way, you don't want to be there when it's 120 degrees. Trust me, you don't want to do that. Just look at our little short that we did while we were in Laughlin, Nevada. Oh my, it was horribly, horribly hot down there. So you want to split it up some. That way you get the hot stuff when it's cold here, and you get the hot stuff that's not as hot in the summertime out there. So when we get a camper, when it finally arrives, that's going to be our plan. God has opened up a lot of doors for us out there. It seems like every year He's expanding. We added 2 new churches this year. I'm hoping to add at least 2 new churches next year for while we're out west. And to add churches in our home area for us to come and minister. But whenever we are on the road, we have to realize that it's through the gifts of churches, it's through the gifts of people that help keep us going. Yeah, I am on early Social Security, but it basically helps pay the bills back home, because remember, I've got bills at home in addition to what bills and expenses we incur on the road. So that helps that. But we've got these expenses while we are on the road. And over 2.5 months, it was quite a bill. If I'm not mistaken, it was well over $5,000 expenses on the road. So it does all add up. So that's where you can come in handy if you want. Again, I'm not pressuring you. You can help out by sending a gift, helping us out. All that goes to future travels. There is going to be links down in the description that you can go to, where you can send money through Venmo. It's very secure. You can do that. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, you want to send a check, just direct message me through the video, and I will send you an address of a place where you can actually send the money. And trust me, it's not about making a profit. This is about going out and reaching souls. This is about reaching people that are so hungry for God. Out where we were, we saw such an influence of California coming into that area. And you might think, well, isn't that a good thing? No, because what's happening is you're having churches that the power of God is not working, and you're having churches that just seem like sometimes they're going through the motions. You're having people out there that's hungry for something more than what they're getting, and they need the power of God working in their lives. And that's where we come in. We go out and we hopefully bring revival to these places. We were at a church up in Wyoming a couple of years back, and there was a lady there, and the Spirit was sort of ministering through her, and she just said, wherever you go, you're going to bring revival. And you know what? That's what I want. I want revival to break out. We need revival. This is my poll for my camera. We need revival big time. This country needs revival big time. And that's where our future lies, to go out there. When we get our camper and we go out in the desert, it's to minister to those people that are living out there in the desert. Oh, we still saw so many people out there. It was hot, it was miserable, and they're living in little tin boxes or tents out in the desert. They need somebody to reach them. And I know God has all this in store for us. We just need other people to catch the vision, to catch what God has shown us. If you want to discuss it more, if you want to talk about it more, I'm more than happy to talk about it with you. More than happy. But I hope back through all of this, and I know it's been a long video, has been helpful to you to sort of show you what we did, how much it cost us, what we learned, and where we're going in the future. And I hope it did help. So I'm going to sort of end this video here. Again, you know, if you just make sure you read what's in the description, very important information down there. And we just want to say thank you to all that helped us this past trip. Thank you to the churches that send us donation and the people that send us donations. We appreciate it so much. You are a godsend, because many of them came through at the time we needed them. So we thank you for that. And keep watching the videos. There's a lot more coming out, and we hope you enjoyed them. If you enjoyed this or just put up with it, give us at least a thumbs up. That helps with the algorithms so that other people can watch our videos. So thank you, God bless, and have a wonderful day.